trying to keep up. Hey everybody, welcome to another week of Trying to Keep Up with Allison and Nilo. We have a very exciting guest with us today. At least I think he's exciting. Alex Cadotte.
I'm excited.
I'm excited.
I don't know what that's all about.
I even brought the right cup today.
Oh, you got one of those. I don't think they gave me one of those. I wasn't important enough.
I also
stole
have
it.
one. So that's
Now I
really
feel
weird
bad.
that you don't have one. I've got one. I put stickers over the Micra part, but mine still has an IQVIA company under it.
Are you serious? You hid the Micra? I like it. And usually people are like, what's the cup? And I'm like, it's Micra, an IQVIA company. I am like
It's a-
doing free advertising for you guys. But this is the best thing. It actually gets me to drink. This should be a medical device. It gets me to drink water because it's like the perfect size. And it also, like, I can see when it starts to get a little green, and I need to wash it. So, thanks, Micra.
I don't know. I think you're good under general wellness for that one.
Helps you live a healthier lifestyle and hydration for blah, blah, blah. Alex, we're stoked to have you on here. Let's have you do your quick intro, and the most important thing, then tell your joke.
Uh, I think usually my introduction goes like I'm a vice president of digital health at Micra. I've been doing this for 5 years in the consulting space, so I feel like I've been there, done that. Um, Seen a lot of different things, especially in the AI space, where I help a lot of companies basically get their AI in order before it goes to FDA. I was at FDA from 2015 until 2021. Did a lot of AI work, a lot of reviews, worked for digital health on the pre-start program, did a lot of policy work. I was one of the authors on the white paper and some of the guidance work on PCCP as well. So that's usually where I get most of my attention from the community there is on PCCP. But um, yeah, that's kind of my recent history and why I am where I am.
And you have the famous quote that one does not simply walk into FDA. Or was it the Mordor? I was like, that is.
I don't know how I come up with this stuff on the fly because I'm just not that funny in real life. So I think I have to be careful with that type of humor because it gets me in a lot of trouble sometimes. So
Alice and I would have no idea what you mean by that kind
No,
of thing.
no.
No,
Say
never,
it
no,
Never.
never.
that you probably shouldn't say. What?
What?
So my joke, so I was playing chess with a dog last week, and I'm trying to teach my kids how to play chess. They're 4 and 6. And we were in the park, and this lady comes by, and she's like, "Wow, that's a really smart dog if they're playing chess." And I was like, "Well, yeah, he's actually not that good. He only won 9 out of the last 10, so." Or I only won 9 out of the last 10. I got that backwards, but um,
I think it's better the way you did it.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
Hey,
jokes aren't my
90%.
thing.
90%.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I'm better at one-liners at conferences.
What's the best present you can ever give?
Uh, I would say give your time, give yourself.
That's not funny.
Yeah, I don't know.
That is true though. Give your time. The best gift you can ever give is a broken drum because nobody can beat that.
Got it.
I'm gonna save that one for my kids. They'll love it.
Yeah.
Put that in your pocket. All right, Nilo, you're up.
So I'm up here in Pacific Northwest, so we had some lobster. So, but always a classic joke. Why don't lobsters ever share?
Because you've eaten them already.
No, they're so shellfish.
Oh, that's so good.
You know, I like a good popsicle stick joke, and that's
mean-
definitely the popsicle stick joke.
So, Alex, last week we had our siblings on. It was terrible.
Disaster.
I had terrible bandwidth. Like it was terrible, but the jokes were lit. They were
Yeah,
pretty
they were
great.
good.
Yeah, they were definitely the popsicle stick jokes.
I
Oh my goodness.
I speaking of siblings though, real quick, I'm in my sister-in-law's office because I'm up here in Portland, Oregon right now, and she has such better artwork on the
She
walls
does.
than I have in mine. But it's also there's a lot of like pictures and not one single picture of my brother Nick, and I feel like that is very typical of my wife too. So I'm I'm glad. Um, I just am noticing. I'm like, yeah, these are great. Oh, there's not one picture of Nick in here.
Yeah, that sounds consistent. My
Yeah,
wife has a lot of
yeah,
pictures of our kids, but I'm not in very many of them.
yeah.
Like just a little out of frame, little bit more to the left,
Mhm.
honey.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're trying to keep up with a lot of stuff this week. There's been some activity in the de novo front. Nilo, I'm gonna let you take this one.
Yeah, sure. So, the full summary of this one for autonomous healthcare from the device is the Synchron E, and this is by a guy named Bainud, who both Alice and I forever ago, I'm gonna say it was like 5 or 6 years ago, had conversations with, and maybe gave him some good advice, but he was determined to do it on his own, and it looks like he did. And
He
it's
done did it.
he did it, which I'm like pretty happy of him because this is not getting it de novo through the FDA is not easy, and to do it on your own and bootstrapped it is pretty awesome. So I'm pretty stoked about that for him. It's not all posted yet, but his website does list a little bit. I don't know how much up to date this is, but it was a device that was supposed to connect to a ventilator and kind of improve and read the waveforms in real time to detect like ventilator asynchrony. So really, ventilators in hospitals, especially long-term use, if they're not really perfectly synced up to your breath, they can cause all sorts of problems where you're breathing in air into the wrong places or having just general issues. And I don't want to. I don't know what he ended up getting the clearance totally for, and it's not all up to date, so I don't want to overspeak. But the concept was cool and it was really timely at the time. With it kind of hit before COVID, and then COVID came through, where that kind of ventilator technology was going to be super important. I think it's still super important, so I'm happy for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Congrats, Banud. I was like,
yeah.
I Okay, hot take. I feel like sometimes, guys, it's better if you don't have a consultant with FDA. Like, there have been moments that I'm
This
like,
is great for you as the retired consultant.
what?
Politely go to hell. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. I sometimes feel like, I mean, most of the time, companies are better off having somebody who like speaks the language, knows how to interpret deficiencies, knows how to understand like, hey, this is the way we should talk to FDA. And then there are the random cases where you're like, it's a CEO or a doctor or somebody that's just like goes it alone and they get farther. And I sometimes feel it's the reviewers. Sorry, I don't know if I just disconnected. Anyway, sometimes I'm like, is it the reviewers that are like, take pity on these small startups and are just like, you can't afford consultants, so like I'm just gonna help you out here. And so, not saying that's what happened here, but I'm just like, anyway, thoughts.
I, I think I used to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I
I
remember.
mean, I don't know if I'd give away a de novo, but
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely not de novo, but there'd be times that like I had a company that was like, oh no, we talked to the reviewer for like 2 hours, just like catching up and talking about. I was like, what? Good for you. Milk that train, like. Oof.
I remember. I one of my first submissions at FDA was in the dental group, and the entire submission was handwritten.
Mm.
It was submitted on like detailed lab notebooks and graph paper, and it was just a guy in his garage that wanted to market for it was like artificial saliva pump for people after chemo because a friend of his had it, and it was like very cool, and it worked, and he did all the testing in his garage, and I was like, this is amazing, dude, good luck for you. Like, but I definitely talked to him way more than I talked to any other one. I hope he's doing okay. So
That's fascinating.
yeah.
Well, shout out to Banud. Congrats. And then there's a PMA. I also did not look at that
I
one. So is that you, Nilo?
Yeah, yeah, I put this one in here too.
Okay.
So I would. This is amazing because I'm off this week. I've been traveling, but I got a couple of things in here at the beginning. So this is the Hep Quant Shunt. It's a liver diagnostic test, and it's basically just a liver function test that's minimally invasive, and rather than looking for liver damage or scarring, it looks at some biomarkers for use, and I had more details on what the biomarkers were, but I lost that tab. So you guys can look it up. The P number is P220016. But one interesting thing is, and this came up a couple weeks ago with a different one that was a P23. This is another PMA that took over 4 years to go from submission to approval. And I don't know how that's possible because you only get a year to respond to questions for a PMA, right?
I mean, there could be an appeal in there too.
It could be,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you can keep submitting responses. You can get multiple. What is it?
Oh,
Is it
you can get
DSAP?
multiple
Yeah,
holds.
supplements.
Yeah.
That's right. It's not the 510K where you can only have one. That makes sense. So,
Yeah.
but that's a long haul from
Long haul. I
but
mean,
um
kudos.
yeah. But liver diagnostic tests are important. We've got, half Irish, got family with some of the alcohol problems and things like that, and early detection of liver function before it gets to scarring and actually like dying is a good thing. So
Well, I don't know. There might be less use of it. Like apparently GLP-1s are helping people with their liver problems.
I know, honestly, I mean, it seems to be helping with all sorts of urge control for like drug addiction and alcohol addiction. So it's I'm interested to see where that goes, honestly, because that's a big deal if it works.
Yeah, I've heard from people that are actually using it. It's like, and a lot of my friends are people that like to drink, let's face it. But they're on a
Company included.
GLP-1.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
They often talk about like, yeah, I just don't like drinking anymore because of this. And it's like there's so many implications for like behavioral changes there and um, other than just the kind of what it's indicated for. So I just find that really interesting.
I do too. The people I know that have been on the GLP-1s though have said that they don't like anything anymore. Like it takes away a lot of the pleasure stuff. So there is probably a limit to to that, but it is, where there's health problems, it'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've also, for GLP-1s, like we've been getting some interesting questions and conversations about like their use in clinical studies, like when not for clinical studies, but when it's used, let's say for an orthopedic, like or people are using them in during an orthopedic clinical trial, like how might that impact if they're losing a bunch of weight? Could that impact the outcome of the study? And yeah,
Sounds like it could be a clinically important variable you'd have to track.
right?
Yeah.
Because now, like, so much of the U.S. population is on GLP-1s, so
Well,
it's like, well,
we were, we've worked on, I think a few of us have worked on, mental health digital devices too that are treating mental health. And if there's, urge cancellation, or that kind of stuff, it's got to be a variable there too, you know. So
that's super
it's
interesting.
interesting.
Hmm.
Holly put in the chat she saw a stat today that 1 in 8 people in the U.S. are on GLP-1s.
Oh my goodness.
I
Well,
gotta join the cool kids club. I feel like I've been enjoying my cake too much recently.
I
Maybe I could.
I I kind of want to just be fat and happy, and keep drinking. I'll be fine.
well, you read interesting like environmental articles, but like if you've got as many people as you say on GLP-1s, it's like what's the water going to be like here pretty soon? Because, it ends a lot of the drugs end up byproducts end up in urine and in the sewers, and they can detect that stuff apparently
Oh, yeah.
in the sewers. So it's like it's getting out there in the environment if you've got that many.
Bunch of
I don't
skinny
know.
fish.
I was just gonna say, we're gonna end up with a lot of fish that are like, I'm good.
I don't know. How are you going to catch them? They're not going to take bait.
I know, like, oh god, we laugh and then it's like, oh gosh, this could actually happen. Um, that's what we just got to keep laughing through stuff, I think, in the world. Speaking of diabetes, kind of, that's a weird segue, but like GLP-1s, and there's been a lot of talk about it on LinkedIn because of the new Wall Street Journal article that just came out today about UpDoc, which is a company that has a device that helps to manage your like insulin intake and like your help. It's like calculating what you should do next based on the physician's prescription of your management of your diabetes. And people are saying that it's the first patient facing LLM. I don't know if that's true or not, but anyway, it's pretty exciting to see that like you like have a conversation with your smart device to say like what was your blood sugar, and then it tells you like based on your physician's prescription like here's what you should do today. So pretty bomb.com, not gonna lie.
Well, and that might be one of the first Gen AI applications to make it out there too, if that's the case.
Yeah, yeah. I know,
I feel like
and I know that we were talking about it on there's some conversation on the Slack channel. I added you to it, Alex, because I was like, does anyone know of any that like, um, has anyone seen any? I know that there was the one that was the breakthrough, right? That got, or there was a breakthrough designated device that touted that, but
Hmm.
yeah,
I think there are, maybe it's not good for the podcast, but I'm pretty sure there's a bunch that are out there with Gen AI that are outside of the regulated part
Oh
that are
yeah.
like they're like, hey, this is for education, and then here's the part that tells me because like WellDoc, which is also a diabetes um, management application, has a huge like Gen AI portion of their thing that kind of sits on the platform because they've only got part of they've got a whole like patient management platform, and I think an education side that's not just their actual dosing diabetes thing. So,
Well, that, and there's probably a lot of things that would be technically medical devices, but um, there seems to be an uptick in doctors basically creating their own tools. Because that is one of the things that are going on with all these foundation models available and kind of build your own agent kind of things. You know, maybe even at a higher level, like a whole practice or university building their own tools for things like this. So that's at least a trend that I saw at RSNA,
yeah,
Radiological Society of North America, this past year. A lot of companies are now just selling the foundation model and saying it's not a medical device.
yeah. Well, and it's yeah, they're like vibe coding a product, and then I mean, what's fascinating to me too is FDA is a federal agency, so some of them are saying, well, we're not selling across state lines, or this is only for our hospital system within our state, and so they're getting around some of the federal regulations based on it's not entering interstate commerce. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
What's your thoughts on
it's,
that, Alex? Like, I'm curious.
I mean, it's a fascinating space. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but, just I experienced some of these discussions when I was inside of FDA, and it's like, a lot of times when you're looking at things like warning letters or come to our attention letters, things like that, if you've got a doctor out there making their own AI tool,
Yeah.
it's practice of medicine. Um, and, there's a big gray area in there, and it's like, I just know from my own experiences, FDA is a little bit reticent to get involved in that because, you know, I think they're very calculated about like what things they're going to go out there and assert authority over. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, and I don't even know if they have the backing of the administration to go after somebody doing that right now. So it's like if I were at FDA and I were pursuing something like that, I just feel like it would be challenging.
I feel like I've been following the cybersecurity, trying to get up to speed on cybersecurity too much because now my LinkedIn feed is just cybersecurity posts. And I feel like people vibe coding things that are going to be used in hospitals, even if it's not regulated by the FDA, is just like waiting for someone to find the back door and hold the entire hospital system for ransom every single time. I
Yeah.
I've gone full circle on my previous conversations on why do we care about cybersecurity, and now I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. We have to pay attention.
Yeah, especially considering a lot of the conflict going on in the world right now. People are trying to get into networks. They are trying to create these high impact situations. If you're talking about one government versus another, it's like, who wants to be like the app that, is a minor part of the whole hospital ecosystem that brings down the whole hospital? I mean,
Yeah.
that'd be tragic. Um, so, I do know FDA is taking it really seriously. So, but there's so many devices out there that have never encountered like current FDA cybersecurity review, and they're just sitting out there with something that they did 10 years ago. And, as somebody that used to review cybersecurity 10 years ago, it wasn't very good. I'm not speaking about the company either. It's
Yeah.
like at that point in time, I didn't do an amazing job compared to today, and like reviewing cybersecurity, just didn't know any better. But nowadays they have real cybersecurity professionals in there doing the review, and it's pretty serious stuff. It's gotten to the point where it's gone beyond my understanding. Like I used to be able to handle that type of review at FDA. I'm not sure I could do that anymore. I think I would be like tier one instead of tier two, kind of reviewing something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think to your point of the like companies now coming in and saying like, oh, we have a special 510K that we're going to do, or like we want to do some sort of catch up submission. And I'm like, okay, here
Hey,
we go. And
how's
just
your cybersecurity?
how's your cybersecurity? Because now you're going to have a lot of documentation, which good. Like part of me is like, I'm glad you're going to submit this. We also have some work to do, right? Like here's all the stuff that FDA is now going to expect to see as part of your 510K or whatever submission you're sending in. It's like make sure it's in there, and like the E-Star does not let you muck around,
No.
right? Like it really has. Here are the documents we're expecting. If it's housed within
Yeah.
one document, like you still need an attachment that points to that document. So, um, and
It's
yeah,
it's still amazing though. You've still got people out there that are like, they fill out the E-Star, they figure out a way to actually get the E-Star to work, but they still end up trying to put a document in there that says, yeah, we don't need to do with cybersecurity. And it's like, you're
We,
not going to have a good time.
yeah,
we've
buckle up.
actually, the only E-stars that we've gotten kicked back for RTAs are because of um, cybersecurity, because the FDA's been building their own kind of SBOM reader, and
Hmm.
if it's not auto readable by their SBOM reader, it'll get kicked back as an RTA. And I think they've gotten it. I think they've dialed it in a little bit, but for a while there is like what the guidance said was acceptable was not actually acceptable by the FDA. So you could get through the whole thing, submit it to the FDA, and 7 days later be like, nope, RTA, try again. And we're like, what is going on? We're trying to do the right
Rookie
thing, but it was,
mistake. Yeah.
yeah. Basically, we didn't call Allison.
And kinda. No, it's and now with the human factors getting updated, like we have one going in next month, and I'm like, all right, well, get ready because now we're gonna have to do category 1, 2, 3, and like figure out what sort of human factors evidence you need.
I kind of hope that human factors thing swings the dial back a little bit to allow, hey, this person went to med school. and learned how to use a scalpel. We don't need to go human factors on a scalpel again. Um, but we'll see.
Wishful thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I I came from an environment at FDA where we didn't do human factors. It's like
yeah.
radiology is just a strange animal. It's like even now they don't really require it. And I now have a really bright up and coming associate director. Her name's Dee Lu, who's specializing in human factors. I don't know enough about it to really mentor her on it at all, but she's pretty amazing at it. And I'm just learning so much about human factors. It's just been really interesting to see that grow. And it's like her and her team related to that. It's just growing gangbusters. So it's like,
Yeah.
go for it.
Well, I think it's so important, right? Like human factors
Oh yeah.
should always be part of your game plan, whether you're gonna submit it to FDA or not. I
Hmm.
agree with you, Nilo. Like if it's scalpel, but I'm also like I see people, and even in these human factors reports that you get, you're like, wow, somebody messed it up, or like somebody with loads of experience, or like sometimes they'll just throw the instructions for use aside, and you're like, okay, so you also have to design for those people, right? Like thinking
Yeah.
about if you're not going to read the instructions, or you're going to, think that you know it better than the device manufacturer, you also have to kind of weigh that and figure out your benefit risk with those people in mind. So,
I
yeah.
think yeah,
Yeah.
like as engineers, you're always taught that human error is always the most likely source of error. At the same time, I think I get annoyed with like the FDA's strict interpretation of how you have to conduct your human factor studies um, on your own device because medical devices are so unique and the environments they're used in are unique and the people using them are unique. It's like these are not cookie cutter.
Yeah.
And so I just want more interpretation. You can say you have to do it, but like it should be acceptable that you did it, I guess. I don't know. I get I get pushed back.
Yeah,
I push back on
it's
the
very
on
rare
that.
for there to be 100% success in your. If anything, that would be more concerning. Like, are you sure they did it 100%?
Did I get kicked out?
No, I can still hear you.
Okay, Allison got kicked out. I'm sure her point was very important, but we can move on. um, I honestly think we probably should hop until she comes back. The I do think I think Alex, you had a little bit more discussion here on the Gen AI stuff. Did you want to talk a little bit more, or did you kind of feel like you covered it on just something, the kind of public thought on the FDA not being out there with Gen AI and things like that?
Yeah, and I want to be careful not to be critical of FDA here. It's a new technology. When I engage with somebody that's got Gen AI in their product, it's like, hey, you're going to have to educate FDA here so that they feel comfortable um, with this functionality that you're putting in a submission, just because they're not going to take it as a given that it works. You're going to have to prove it. And if it's a new technology, they have to learn about it before they're comfortable with it. So I feel like that's kind of the initial conversation I always have with folks about Gen AI is, when you've got a new technology, it doesn't matter what it is, you're going to have to educate FDA, and that's going to take time. And I've heard people say that FDA is broken because they can't keep up with the pace of innovation and things like that. And quite honestly, I don't really completely agree with that. I do think FDA is supposed to evaluate these products and these technologies before they go on the market to make sure they're not going to do harm before they're out there. So, to a certain degree, I feel like it's working like I would expect, um, and it's perhaps working the way that it should. I mean, I think they're going to get there because if you really think about it, a lot of the stuff that I work with AI and software, different technologies, by themselves, they're not an intended use. It's a technology. They're supporting an intended use. At the end of the day, you have to validate your intended use. So FDA doesn't necessarily know how to validate Gen AI at this point, but I think they're pretty close. I think that my prediction would be is there's going to be either a de novo or PMA out there with a pretty heavy device function with Gen AI within the next year or two. I want to say radiology is going to be the first, but you never know these days.
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree with you on I on kind of what you just said. I think that because I also think part of this is when we see some of these tools being used in practice, they're already kind of going way beyond what, when we look at some of the mental health ones and like the suits out of Florida and Pennsylvania suing, these Gen AI companies for pretending to be doctors, right?
Hmm.
And it's, as you build those systems in, how do you limit them? I think the FDA is supposed to be the brakes sometimes, Regulators are supposed to regulate sometimes and not just let everything through. So I agree with you.
Yeah, although, like from a policy wonk perspective, I often wonder if FDA is the right group to be regulating some of these things people want to do with AI, especially when you're talking like, I can perform as well as a doctor, you know? It's
Yeah.
like practice of medicine sounds pretty interesting there. It's like, think about if we evaluated doctors the same way we do medical devices. I don't know if they'd ever make it to practicing. It's crazy.
Do
I've
we
It's
never
very
thought
different.
about that. That's so interesting.
Yeah. Do we make the robots go to med school?
I don't know. I'm not really trying to say anything. It's just an interesting thought of, if a doctor had to pass the same level of confidence that you'd want from an AI to use as your doctor, is that realistic for the doctor to pass that test?
I mean, I think another comparison to that is like self-driving cars. Like self-driving
Hmm.
cars are so
Very
much
much.
better than
Yeah.
humans. We people are on their phones. People are drunk. People are like, I don't know. There's just so many things that could go wrong behind the wheel of a car, and it's embarrassing how the driver's license test is, not so hard to. Anyway, I I think doctors, the thing that people prefer is also it's a human you're talking to, right? I think there are some things that I believe in my heart of hearts that like a bot or someone's not going to necessarily pick up if they're sitting in the room with me and having a in-person visit at my doctor's office. I mean, I look at the stuff that the folks, I think it's NOAA Labs, is doing about like heart failure and like picking up sound from someone's voice, right? So there's going to be tools that might say, hey, Allison's maybe close to having a cardiac event. Did you hear that in the voice recording of the room, that we picked up XYZ from her, or there's going to be certain things that AI will be able to do. But I just, yeah, I hope that doctors never get replaced. I feel like that is
No,
such an
that's not going
important.
to happen.
Yeah,
But I mean, I do think that, as generations cycle through, we're going to get to a point where it's going to be unusual where a doctor is not aided by AI.
for sure.
I don't think we're there yet, just because, I mean, I have some opinions here about this, but a lot of the digital health tools that make their way out of FDA and make it to the market, a lot of them fail. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't get reimbursed, they don't get taken up by the payers, various things. And if I have like a tinfoil hat conspiracy or something like that, it's like I used to do product design before I went to FDA. Like I used to design products for neuro applications. And designing a product is not an easy thing. And then when you go into FDA and they're like, no, 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 this design's not going to work. You need to do this. It's like you do end up getting a lot of devices, in my opinion. I'm uh, taking some logical leaps here, but I feel like a lot of times devices get modified when they go to FDA in order to satisfy FDA, and then what comes out isn't necessarily something that the doctors want to use because the folks at FDA are really smart, do a lot of great things, but you can't be good at everything. Product design is something that I feel like doesn't get enough good attention. It's right in there with that human factors idea that, you got to understand everything about your device, the population it's being used on, the people who are going to use it. And just because FDA says it's safe and effective does not guarantee anybody's going to buy it.
Yeah.
Um, so that's maybe my thought about maybe why there's not as much reimbursement for a lot of things that are coming out of FDA. I mean, definitely a lot of companies that look at reimbursement before they get into the regulatory process do tend to do better, is all I can say there.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had a conversation with Mark Domian, who on my Blue Stock Talk podcast about that. It's just like, how do we get people all starting to talk about these things a little bit earlier? Because for so long it was like FDA, I got to get through FDA. Like we're just hyper focused on that, and it's like it's having that conversation about who's going to pay for it when we get out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how do we expand? How do we get that's not the finish line anymore, right?
Yeah, I mean they're doing the whole breakthrough and TAP program. Sometimes I'm really curious what FDA is learning from those experiences. So,
Ooh, give us your opinion. Come on, hot take moment.
oh, it's hard to say. Um, it it does seem like a bit of a strange marriage of domains
Yeah,
because FDA doesn't care, it won't consider reimbursement in making a decision. So, I mean, ultimately, that's what you would kind of hope is that you would tie that into that kind of the whole process, and FDA wouldn't push devices in directions that wouldn't get reimbursed. But they're still neutral to it. Um, I don't know. That would be my hope. Um, if you're asking me what the day-to-day reviewer has gotten from it, I would say probably not a lot.
yeah,
Not yet. It's too early.
yeah, yeah. I feel like breakthrough is on the tip of everyone's tongue when I talk to people, and they're like, "Well, tell me what you think about breakthrough," and I'm like, "Oh gosh, how do I feel today?"
Yeah, I have not. I've seen breakthrough getting tougher and tougher and tougher.
I agreed with that until about 3 months ago, and then it was like, hey, you get a breakthrough, and you get a breakthrough, and you get a breakthrough. They put up the stats for the first quarter, I think, a couple weeks ago, and the first quarter of breakthroughs designations this year meant that we were on pace to be double the highest amount of breakthrough designations in the year from any other calendar year. So like,
Really?
yeah, yeah, we already had half. I think it was some. I can't remember the exact number, but I think we were already at like 90 through the first quarter, and the most ever in a year was 203. So like, we're on pace for almost double this year. But that could be because of them removing NTAP on October 1st. Everyone's submitting as quickly as possible and trying to get in. There's no denominator there. There might just be more applications.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, with a resource constrained FDA like you have right now, it's
you would think you'd think they'd make it harder, but um,
the
I
thing that I don't understand about making it harder in resource constraint is you actually have to spend more time on the breakthrough review to make it harder.
that's
And
fair.
I have seen some reviews that come back from breakthrough that, oh my God, they provide more feedback than they do in a Q-sub for sure.
Yeah.
I, we I almost always, if there's even the slightest chance, we say submit the breakthrough first because you're going to get the feedback you might have wanted. You get to introduce the product to the FDA. You're going to get feedback on it, and you get a shot at breakthrough. And it's fat, and you get the feedback in 60 days, often in 30 days, instead of
Yeah.
waiting 75 for a meeting that might be totally sandbagged by a clinician who doesn't understand your device. So
Yeah, it's been sort of like a backdoor precept in some ways.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of people were using it during COVID when they couldn't get anything
right.
from certain groups, but if they put in the breakthrough, they would still review it. It was a weird loophole.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I talked to a reviewer recently who was just like, we also got in trouble because we gave some things breakthrough, and then we were like, oh, we shouldn't have given them breakthrough. And I don't know who got mad internally, but it was like, oh, there were some regrets. for some of the breakthroughs that were given. So I'm like, oh, I'd love to be a fly on the wall. Let's change course a little bit. I want to talk about something Josh Nipper just posted about it on LinkedIn about the new facility that just got added to the data integrity issue list with Biocomp. Did you guys see that?
Oh,
I clicked the link after you put it up there, but that's crazy.
I couldn't figure out which one it was. It's the third one. The other ones were dated from last year. So the ones that were dated last year were from February. That was Midlink Technology Testing Company. There was one in May of last year for Sanitation and Environment Technology Institute of Soochow University. And the one that was just added this month is the CCIC Huatongwei International Inspection Company. So they've added a third, and if for folks who don't know, this is like something that Nilo and I also ran into issue. I don't know, Alex, if you also, you're probably Microsoft too, of just getting flat out rejection from a 510K or a submission if it included testing from specific labs that had data integrity issues. And it was just like, do not pass go, do not collect $200, you're going straight to an NSE. Go and do your testing elsewhere and then come back in. And it's been pretty, they've been very, what's the word, like consistent with like saying like, nope, day one, you're rejected. So, but now there's another one.
I guarantee you Rob Allen from MICRA is all over this as far as like understanding and like I'm sometimes amazed with him and his team as like how much he knows about biocompatibility. It basically just shows you it's just like me playing chess with a dog. I don't even know what I'm looking at.
I know he's one of my go-tos. Like that guy, I feel like I've asked him to be on TTKU, Nilo, and he said yes at some point, but then I don't know.
He's got the MICRA and the PIT connection. He's got to be on here at some point.
Biocomp is like
we get all the PIT.
I used to know stuff about Biocomp, right? Like that was my jam, and now I'm just like, there's so much stuff now, especially all these data integrity issues. I'm just like, oh, it stings, right? Like you feel like you've gone so far, you've done your testing, and then nope, you can't even enter the door.
What's annoying is, and I think Josh Nipper and his team have actually fixed this and are doing better, is the two labs that happen to clients of ours for are still not listed. And the FDA for a while would not issue a letter specifying what the data integrity issue was so that the labs didn't go out there and course correct and continue trying to hide it in a different way. But it made it so the clients who are, one of them was like a pediatric device client. They're pinching two pennies together to make this work. Couldn't have any sort of like legal retribution because there's no official thing that said your data integrity issue is because of the work done at this specific lab. And so it kind of left the clients in just kind of fucked. Like there's nothing we could really do about it except for turn around and go to NAMSA or Nelson or one of the big players in the US to do it, which are way more expensive, longer lines. You have to project manage them because they've gotten so huge. So it's just kind of a bummer of a situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of pressure to get costs down on submissions and to be careful who you get in bed with to do your testing.
Yeah. I know Nilo you were going to start a biocomp. I was like, I like this idea, starting our own biocomp company. Yeah. And then I was like, I know we'd probably get that data integrity issue.
I would absolutely cheat. Listen, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
I don't know. I think you'd really have to try hard to do that. Like, what are you going to do to become a data integrity issue?
I do know what one of the labs was that's not on the list. What they were doing is they were literally taking 50 device companies' stuff at once and extracting them all at once, and just running the samples like that and going, this is the report for all of them, and like one of the devices like had silver in it and passed cytotoxicity without any issues, and we're like, that should have failed. That is intended to be cytotoxic. So like we actually caught it before it
Yes.
went to the FDA on that one, but like yeah, that's what they were doing.
Easy.
My
Yeah,
gosh. It was a representative sample. What are you talking about?
yeah, yeah. It was used in the heart. All of these are used in the heart. Representative.
It was a giant. It was a coupon. like we used a Frankenstein device.
Well, I
Um,
remember what some of the others were just recycling reports and just,
yeah.
Yeah,
it's like if you're doing that sort of stuff, I mean, FDA does have AI. They can find stuff like that when there's things that are common between
Yeah.
submissions.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, especially with AI now, like I remember a few years back, there was a woman who was going through a bunch of old publications and she would like take the images and she would try to line them up. And like she realized that there were some figures that were just rotated and like, but it was the same, I don't know, stain in the corner, right? So she's like, that's clearly just like copy and pasted and you've called it something else. And she would just out these publications and say this is false, this is like, or you fabricated data. And now it's like with my husband who's a professor like submitting papers, he's like, oh yeah, I mean, he's so strict about like data integrity, like making sure that he's gone through everything. They're like triple blinded experiments. But also he's like, now it's when you submit publications, they do that screening on your paper to make sure like they're not going to be caught as well, right? Like they don't want to be in anybody's news article saying like, hey, this journal allowed this paper to get through and it was false data. So
Makes sense.
yeah, 100%. Let's talk about or wait, there was one other thing on there. I lost my link. Oh, the substantial equivalence. Sorry, I always look for guidance documents, and there were no new ones for CDRH. But one that I found super interesting was the substantial equivalence for biologics, drugs and biologics, which kind of feels like, I always feel like CDRH is taking a page out of Cedar and CBER's playbook. But this one kind of felt like, oh wow, hey, maybe the drugs and biologics folks are taking a page out of the device world. So yeah, demonstrating substantial evidence of effectiveness for human drug and biological products. It's a draft guidance. It was just released this month. And anyway, I haven't gone through it cover to cover, but just letting people know it's out there. And yeah, people who are interested in submitting new drug applications or biologics license applications or supplements to those, they have a guidance. And it's replacing a 1998 guidance, so it shows how old this is. But that guidance was called Providing Clinical Evidence of Effectiveness for Human Drug and Biological Products. I think there's just, FDA is finding more ways to show equivalence and like bioequivalence and trying to figure out how to minimize the amount of clinical evidence. Maybe not minimize, but like how to use other data that might be out there. And anyway, I like seeing stuff like this. I think it's information about how to do trial design and trial conduct, and I think that's super important. So anyway, thought I'd mention it.
Interesting. I'm scrolling through it right now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. What else? What other? I think that was the main part of the info that we had links to, but
I don't have anything new. I was just hopping on to talk to you guys today. I'm going. I hope everyone's enjoying the World Cup. It's been fun. I'm driving up to Seattle to see another game with my brother. We're gonna go see Egypt Iran on Pride Night in Seattle, so that should be an interesting game. But I'm excited. It's got stakes, so it'll be fun.
that's so exciting.
Yeah,
Nice.
I want to spend like 2 minutes actually just talking about PCCPs real quick since we've got you here,
yeah.
Alex.
I don't know anything about those.
I
Um,
do know. You're like, what does that stand for? I'm now. I've been part of quite a few that were submitted that have been accepted by FDA. I have like one horror story where it was like, which is amazing. It's only one. Because I feel like FDA is still trying to figure out what these should look like. Um, but it's like, what's my question to you? My question to you is, where should companies start when they start thinking about like, should we put this in a PCCP? And usually I'd be like, go talk to Alex. But like, there's so many, there's guidance out there, but it's also, I don't know, it feels kind of like a crapshoot every time we submit one to FDA.
Yeah, I mean, the way PCCP has kind of evolved, I mean, it started with the idea of allowing AI devices to be learning autonomously. And it's like, that's never happened. But now you have PCCPs for things like biocompatibility and, I always think of biocompatibility as the opposite end of the spectrum for me, just because, electronics versus biocompatibility, they don't mix very well. But anyway, they have a lot of uses, but what I find is very true is a lot of people have kind of not so great expectations of what's going to happen when it goes to FDA, because a lot of times what they want is no oversight. They want to start doing something and they just want to keep doing it until the end of time and just be able to do it themselves. And I mean, it's predetermined change control plan. It's like if you can't say what devices or what technology you're going to be using it on and you can't predetermine it, it's probably not going to work out very well. So, but I'd say the first discussion that I actually have with most companies is kind of a line I learned from Ken Skodashek is the juice worth the squeeze for these things? Because quite often you're putting in twice as much effort up front for something that would be an easy follow-on 510K. And for those really difficult PCCPs, I would say the thing that's boggled my mind the most is that it was supposed to be this really nice mechanism to be able to do stuff kind of outside of FDA, not having to come back for clearances for simple things. And to get a PCCP is almost as much work as doing a 510K on its own, especially when you're talking about when they're in the AI space and you're looking to like change your AI over time. And I think where the miscue is, and I'm not trying to be super critical of FDA here, but I do think it's a missed opportunity with over time, it has gotten so hard to get a PCCP. It's just it ends up erasing any value that you get from it. Is probably where I'm most disappointed on where it's gone. So I would say a lot of my engagements when we go through that is the juice worth the squeeze exercise. Now, a lot of times they choose not to do the PCCP.
Yeah.
Um, so. Um, It's like, yeah, I've worked on a lot of PCCPs, but I've probably ended up, unfortunately, killing a lot of them before they even make it to FDA.
You're like, do we really want to do this? Really, guys?
I get bummed out because we've done a couple of them and they didn't work out. Like just the FDA kind of rejected. It's like we know what our plan is. Like we know what the change is going to be, and the change should be reviewable by standard, like recognized consensus standard type things of like, or not even, we're going to test it for ISO 10993-1, and we know what the acceptance things are, and we know the electrical safety testing we need to do. We know the package testing we do. It should be
Yeah.
easy. We're going to describe exactly what the change is, and here's our acceptance criterias, and here's our test methodology. Assuming all this passes, are we okay? And it should be easy, and it's just not. And
No, I
and
mean,
there's not even like a good. Sometimes it's review group by review group, but I think it's kind of blanket not easy.
yeah, it does vary by review group, but it's like if I think back to my mentality when I was at FDA for certain things, I felt a lot of times very strongly that I needed to be involved, even if they had those acceptance criteria and the methods all set up. I think my views have changed since then, but it's like I can fully understand. It's like I can tell you that when I was at FDA, I wasn't necessarily good at understanding when I could let go. of certain things. And I think it's very true, maybe on the average, that most reviewers are not good at saying when they shouldn't be involved in something because they are always worried that somebody's going to come back and say, why did you allow this? Why did this thing that ended up harming a patient, why did you turn this over to the company through a PCCP? And, you know, I don't necessarily know how to fix that particular thing, but I think it's really true that it's hard for reviewers to know when not to be a reviewer.
This is why 513Gs are tough, because
Yeah.
especially if you're looking at a class 1 versus class 2, if you're going to ask an FDA reviewer if they want to review something, they're going to say, yeah, we want to review it. Submit your 510K almost exclusively. And it's just, I think it's the same idea though. It's tough to know when you're not supposed to be involved in it or like accept and let go of that control, because when you get in as a reviewer, they teach you to be risk adverse and want to review everything. And it's tough to kind of go, yeah, that's good.
And you're asking them, here's what we want to do without you. Right?
I
in
know.
The PCCP.
It's hard.
I feel like the same thing can be said like 513Gs, but also with like class 1 devices that need a 510K or exceed the limitations of exemption. I will say every class 1 device that I've had to submit a 510K for has needed so much clinical evidence, so much work, and it's just like, this, you guys have said this is low risk, but now you want a new 40-person study? So I'm like, I don't know what we're doing here. So
Yeah, I always feel like that whole I need to be involved thing. I mean, just look at us talking at the beginning of the call, like some of these folks that go on their own and do a submission without a consultant. We're like, yeah, we should have been there.
yeah.
It would have been even easier with us involved. It's like, nah, not all the time.
Not always. Oh, this has been a really great way to sell all three of our companies, guys. I feel like
What you guys are talking about, it's always easier when I'm involved. I make no problems for any of my clients. We are amazing. All the time.
day. This has been Alex, I love talking with you. I feel like maybe we should do just like trying to keep up. Maybe we should just convert this to trying to keep up with Alex and Allison. Like, Milo,
Cool.
you run your
Cool.
course. I'm just kidding.
Great.
Just kidding.
I think you try to kick me
You're
off this
my
podcast once a month.
Once a month. No, you're my main boo.
Okay.
I don't know. I got a feeling if it was just you and I, Allison, we might violate some of those rules that you have. So
That's true. The rules of life. Yeah, it's true. There are rules to this podcast.
I did really well, and I didn't do any F-bombs today, so that's
I know,
great.
Like Milo did. Great.
I
We gotta
did.
call this explicit. Now the kids can't listen to this one.
Oops. Put my
Yeah.
dollar in the swear jar.
Gosh. Well, thank you, Alex, from Micra, an IQVIA company. I actually stole this. This is a terrible story, but it was on the table, like one of the swag tables at LSI one year, and no one was there, and I was like, I want that so bad. But I will say it's serving its purpose for Micra because I always drink out of it. And
You know, Glenn Steegman was talking about somebody stole his water cup.
oh my god, Glenn, thank you. Oh man. All right. That's all we got time for today. Alex, thanks for trying to keep up with us.
Yeah,
Thanks,
great.
Alex. It was good hang.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.